No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. And for all of those joining us live somewhere on the interweb, good evening and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Or should we just call this the Jets will never lose ever again show, Ezzy, because the Jets are streaking.
I was thinking no Mandel hour, Dave, but we can go with that too.
That would work as well. This is, of course, the Illegal Curve post-game show. That voice you're hearing is mine, Dave Manouk. I'm in the host chair tonight. That is my main man to my left or right, depending on your perspective, Ezra Ginsburg. And we're here to talk about the Jets' 5th win in a row. They sweep Del Boca Vista, Phase 3. They beat the Lightning. They beat the Panthers. Who don't they beat, Ezzy? They barely lose a game in November.
Well, Baby Yoda is already calling a Jets win over Nashville. So,
well, I mean, that's some good foreshadowing. But the fact of the matter is the Jets are 11-2-2 through their last 15 games. And, of course, we'll have to mention the emotional boost they got with the return of Rick Bowness, which, of course, is the bigger focus, as I wrote about on illegalcurve.com, Ezzy.
What a surprise this morning. That was just great news to hear.
Well, the good news is that Judy Bowness obviously is well enough that Rick feels confident to go on the road. So the good...
Not sure what's going on, but I'm not hearing Dave M right now. I'm not sure, Dave, what happened there. I don't know if I'm seeing some other people are saying that you're muted as well, Dave, but not sure what's going on there. But for the last minute or so, I couldn't really hear what you were saying.
All right, everyone. As you can tell, I was a little stressed. Making things happen. We're back. I apologize for the F-bomb, but, I was wanting to get back on this show and get back to business. So thank you for Ezzy for running the ship, and let's get back into it. But anyways, what I was saying when I went mute was simply that the Jets got obviously Rick Bowness back, and they're happy, and there's a lot of good feelings with this team right now. 5 wins in a row. And again, like I said, there's a lot of joy in Joyland. And the one thing I was about to say, boys, is the fact that Gabe Vilardi is shed his non-contact. So, and that's something obviously we'll talk about more tomorrow. But Rick Bowness wasn't prepared yesterday to say that there wasn't going to be a Gabe Vilardi return on Sunday. He said, we'll see, which is typical of Rick Bowness. So no surprise there. Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody in the chat for giving me and bearing with me. So thank you for everyone. Thank you for Ezzy for trying to steer the ship while I was having technical problems. But we're back, and we're not going to tell Mandel about this, as we're just going to cut those 5 minutes of dead air out. Maybe my F-bomb will leave in, but let's try and get into it, because we do have a show tomorrow, so we better get started with from our friends at Betway, the Betway game recap.
The Betway game recap.
The game recap, Ezzy. Well, that begins with what I thought was, and I mean, I want to get your impressions because I've been talking and people are hearing me, was what did you think of the start? Because to me, that was a pretty slow start between both teams. I thought they'd be a little bit more amped, and it seemed like it was very cautious. I think there was like one shot for the Jets and none for the Panthers for the first few minutes. So to me, it seemed like it was very slow beginning, and then it picked up a little bit as the game went on.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was a little bit low event until maybe the last, 4 or 5 minutes of the first period. But, I think that, the Jets definitely, picked up some steam as that period went on. And yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a chess match in the first period, to be expected a little bit. These teams haven't played in a while. And, the Jets, I think, this was another game where the majority of it was played at 5-on-5, but there's no doubt that this was a little bit slow to start.
Yeah, and the biggest question mark coming into the game for the Jets was the status of Brendan Dillon. He didn't skate this morning. He was a game time decision with the lower body. I happened to be reviewing that Tampa game for reasons unexplained, and I thought he got taken out a little bit in the third period or second period of that game. So he got taken out of the leg. So I'm thinking that maybe that was what was bothering him. But all Rick Bowness said was that it was a lower body injury. He obviously ended up playing. Logan Stanley did not. And the man who I think deserves a lot of credit, Ezzy, and I jokingly said, get him signed to an extension ASAP, is Nino Niederreiter, and he's, of course, the guy who gets things started for the Jets, and he's just a bull in front, and that's how, you need to get some goals, and that's exactly what he did to open up the scoring here for the Jets in the first period.
Yeah, absolutely. Niederreiter just gets really good positioning in front of Brandon Montour, who's the defenseman that's covering him. But love Dylan Sandberg puts a good shot on net, and look, like Sergei Bobrovsky doesn't handle the initial shot by Sandberg well. I think Sandberg's got an underrated good shot. So I mean that there's a little bit of blame to go around with Bobrovsky, but you love how Niederreiter just outmuscles Montour, who's a big boy, one of the Panthers' best defensemen. And this was right off of a faceoff. So obviously, Lowry wins the faceoff, and good on him for doing the dirty work along the boards to get the puck back to it's Appleton. Lowry wins the faceoff, goes to Appleton, so he gets the puck back to Dylan Sandberg, who puts it on net. But yeah, this is just vintage Nino Niederreiter, right? He's a big boy, 6'2", 6'3", 210 or 215 pounds. So that's just a quintessential third line hardworking goal. And as you mentioned, there weren't a lot of high danger chances in the first period.
Yeah,
but it seems like the Jets are taking advantage of their high danger scoring chances, right? And just getting goals the good old fashioned way, just putting the puck on the net and banging in a rebound.
Yeah, and that third line just continues to get it done, and the second line as well. Like, I mean, all the lines seem to be getting their chances. Like you said, there weren't a ton, at least in that first period, but they're generating, and that's what you want to see. And the fourth line too deserves a lot of credit. Obviously, there weren't a ton of special teams in this in the game, but when they get called on, those guys have been able to be pretty solid. So from that perspective, it's another thing that you've got. The four lines are rolling, and that's a good thing for the Jets. And it's a 1-0 period, and overall, I thought again the first period it wasn't the best period of hockey, but it ended a lot better than it began. I thought it was a lot better than it had been. And Connor Hellebuyck is again Connor Hellebuyck, and we saw that again. I don't know what his overall goal saved above expected was tonight but I think it was around 3 maybe. Like, he was still very good in net, and we've seen kind of that return to form with Connor Hellebuyck, and that's obviously very important for this Jets club. I mean, they were good 5-on-5 again tonight, but although I haven't looked at the numbers yet because, of course, I was scrambling to fix all my mistakes. But
it was pretty even, right? Like, I mean, we talked about it. Each team got 2 power plays, right? So the majority of this game was played at even strength, and the expected goals was very close, and that matches the eye test, right? I mean, this is a 3-0 game, so the score looks a little bit, I think, more flattering towards the Jets, and I'm not taking anything away from the Jets. I just thought like it was a really strong positional game from the Jets. Like, they just played really well structurally, right? And like I think you go back, I think it was the second period, right, Dave? Alexander Barkov, there was the 2-on-1. I forget who the other Panther was, and Barkov was on his backhand, but he decided to pass it back instead of having a shot on Hellebuyck. Yeah, and I think it was just like the Panthers, it just seemed like they were overreaching, and they had to work extra hard to get those really good scoring chances. Like, yeah, they had shots. Remember Listerainen, I mean, he whiffed on the breakaway. I think that was a Panthers power play, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe that was shorthanded.
No, it was shorthanded.
Yeah, it was shorthanded because Listerainen wouldn't be out there for the power play.
Right.
He gave the puck away. It might have been Morrissey, who I thought was excellent tonight. But
sublime to quote Dan Robertson.
Absolutely. Great band and great word, right? But yeah, I mean, the Jets, look, I mean, they're rolling right now. It's pretty absurd if you think about it, 11-2-2, 5 wins in a row, and they're beating good teams, right? Like Florida, Tampa Bay, New Jersey. These are good teams. Obviously, Arizona, not so much. But Arizona, they're a pesky team. They're definitely better than they were last year.
And Ezzy, they were only 2 points back of the Jets at the time those two clubs met. So it wasn't as if you were talking about a club that was, in the basement. I mean, Arizona's been picking up wins. And you're right. Like, this is not a mirage. I mean, like, Paul Maurice, what was he used to say? Your record is who your record is. It says you are. And look, at the end of the day, the Jets have a good record. Are the Jets a top 5 team in the NHL? Probably not. But are they a top 10 team? I think so. And right now they're playing like a top 5 team based on the fact that, again, you're getting production throughout the course of this lineup. That third line continues to produce because, remember, we've always talked about it. They're good. They're heavy to play against, or they're hard to play against and heavy to play against. But the fact of the matter is, and they were able to hold water, but you're getting production. And to me, that was the biggest question mark. We always said this. You can't be a line that gets as many minutes as they do and not produce goals. Obviously, you want to be able to hold them, but you need to be, on the plus side of the ledger, as they say, and the Jets' third line, or however you want to construct those lines or reference those lines, is getting it done right now. And so they do, in that first goal. And again, just quickly, to me, Nino Niederreiter just does so many smart things throughout the course of a hockey game in the offensive zone and in the defensive zone and in the neutral zone. So you got to give that guy credit, because whenever you see 62, you're just impressed with his tenacity and his work. And to me, that's what he just screams out. And that's why he's such a good fit on this Jets club.
Right. And Morgan Barron did an admirable job last year, but it's just been an upgrade on that third line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Niederreiter was more of a top six guy when he came over from the Predators before the trade deadline. But I agree. I mean, that line right now, if you want to talk about, usage, they're actually the Jets' second line. Right. But obviously third line when it comes to talent. So we're going to call them the third line. But you're absolutely right. Considering that Niederreiter could easily play on the second or first line, he really does it all. He is an excellent defensive forward. You always see him hustling, getting his stick, in the way of passes and shots and everything like that. And, he's not a quote unquote tough guy, but he's a big guy. We talked about it. And he's an annoying player to play against, right? He gets in on the forecheck. He goes to the net. He causes his defenseman, he's a distraction in a really good way in front of the net, right? And you saw that on the first goal, right? And it's kind of funny, right, that he's got 6 goals, but they're all on the road. And he's played well at home, but he obviously, is more comfortable on the road. Just kind of a weird stat. He's obviously going to eventually score a goal at Canada Life Center. I just thought that was interesting that, all 6 are on the road.
Well, Ezzy, he obviously hates his goal song and wants to change it.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't even remember what his goal song is.
What is his goal song? Well, there's a little site called thelegocurve.com that says if I type in Winnipeg Jets goal songs, it will tell us all of the Jets goal songs.
Well, and this is a good comment from Baby Yoda. We're putting up a lot of Baby Yoda comments tonight, but they really can.
Oh, Disco Inferno, Ezzy.
There you go. Yeah, Disco Inferno is a good one. But you know what I'm talking about?
Song.
Like this third line really is the best that we've really ever seen Adam Lowry with any group of players. And that is a testament to Mason Appleton's improved play this year. He's obviously, on pace for his career high in goals and assists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nino Niederreiter, who just complements, this line, all 3 players complement each other. And they're really tough to play against. That's the thing. Yes, they've been scoring, but when they're not scoring, they're out there, and most of the time the puck is in the other team's end, and they're causing the other team fits. So, yeah, right now, I think a lot of teams around the NHL are having trouble dealing with the Lowry line.
Yeah, and look, there were the second period goal summary, as he is pretty easy to go over. There were no goals in the second period. There was not a lot of penalties. There was not a lot of power plays. There wasn't a lot of anything in that second period. Again, the Jets penalty kill was solid. We know they didn't give up anything. I thought the refs seemed almost uninterested in calling penalties in this game. And I'm okay with that, but they did let a lot of stuff go. Like there was that little play where Matthew Tkachuk was on his knees he's looking to the right. I shouldn't do that when I need to be speaking into the microphone, but Tkachuk is looking to the right. Scheifele's skating from the left, and Tkachuk kind of goes bang with his stick. And, of course, I didn't see you there, Mark. And the one thing you do like to see, because I thought it was interesting, I think it was at the end of the second period, was the fact that the refs, when they're not calling things, like, for example, when there was a play when Nate Schmidt gets taken out, and Dylan Samberg comes to his defense and basically takes Tkachuk, and I don't remember who the other Panther was, and he puts him into the boards, and it starts a huge scrum. But you go on to see those guys sticking up for each other and standing up for each other, and especially if we saw obviously with Brendan Dillon taking not liking that at the end of the game, but you want to see the guys either standing up for themselves or standing up for the teammates and not being pushed around. Because look, the people talk about the Jets being a big team. They're not that big a team. There's some big guys on this team, but they're not a huge team. But they played big enough. And the Panthers are a bit of a chippy team. They're not the biggest team, but they play a little bit of a more physical, chippy style of game.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. And obviously led by Matthew Tkachuk. And you're right. Mm-hmm. You'd like to see that teammates sticking up for each other. And this isn't the first time that we've seen that, obviously. We've seen that, the whole season. But you're right. I think it really ultimately comes back to that, the Jets are a hard team to play against with 4 good lines now. And, we talked about it earlier. Dylan Samberg had 2 assists tonight. Like, Dylan Samberg and Nate Schmidt are definitely playing their best hockey. And it came out earlier this week that they're actually one of the best lines.
I saw that.
Pardon me, best pairs when it comes to expected goals against, right?
Yeah.
And obviously they haven't played the whole season together.
Right.
But they've played over 100 minutes together, right? That was the requirement for that, those rankings, right? That I think came out from either Money Puck or J Fresh Hockey, right?
One of the two.
Yeah, just incredible, really, what this team is doing, right? Because I think you'd agree, Scheifele, Connor, Iafallo, like they were solid tonight. They were good, but they didn't put 7 or 8 points on the board like they have in previous games.
Yeah,
and same thing with Ehlers, Perfetti, and Nemesnikov. Obviously, the second line gets one of the goals tonight,
right?
But there was just balance, and I agree. I mean, the difference in this game was not the Gustafsson line, but the Gustafsson line was really good. Right. And, you would think, there'd be a little bit of a drop off with both Velarde and Kupari out of the lineup, but the Jets have won every single game since Kupari went down. Right. So
yeah,
everything's going well. And obviously, we've talked about Connor Hellebuck already tonight.
Yeah.
But when Connor Hellebuck is playing that way, they can literally beat anybody.
No, there's no question about it. And I agree with you. I thought the Panthers were trying to be too cute with a lot of their chances. So, there were times where you just get the puck on net and hope for a rebound because, Connor Hellebuck's making, like you said, it's like Kramer, he kept making all the stops and he's making all the stops So it's
Evan Rodriguez had the chance. I wanted to highlight that one, Dave. We mentioned the second period, obviously no goals, right? But there was a really good chance. Evan Rodriguez had the puck behind the Jets net. He brought it out. There was nobody in front. He had a lot of time, basically, and Evan Rodriguez is a good player. I think he's got 6 or 7 goals already this year. And Hellebuck just made a glove save make absolute look easy. Like he was down a little bit, but he just made the save look easy. And I think, we mentioned the Alex Barkov chance on the 2-on-1, and he decided to pass. He should have shot because that's the thing too. We've watched Connor Hellebuck enough to know that, based on his work in the first period, this was a game where he wasn't going to be letting in more than a goal or 2.
Yeah.
Right. So when Barkov has a grade A chance like that, he's got to shoot. Easy for me to say. I mean, Alex Barkov is a top 5 center in the league, arguably, definitely top 10, one of the best defensive forwards, in the last decade in the NHL. But just thought, that was kind of the type of night it was for the Panthers. The Jets played that well defensively that they were frustrating the Panthers. And back to what you were saying, Dave, about the Brendan Dillon fight or the Jets sticking up for each other, like Scheifele getting into it.
Yeah.
I just think that the Jets were getting under the Panthers' skin, right? When you're playing that well. And that's the thing. The Jets are playing with so much confidence right now.
Yeah.
It's really incredible to see. Like, like we said before, are we going to, order the rings and plan the parade route down Portage and Maine? We'll wait till April to do that. But I mean, right now, look, give the Jets credit. I mean, the wins speak for themselves. They're are they first in the Central now? I think they're tied with Dallas in points, right?
They might be. They may
or maybe
be
I forgot if Dallas won tonight. But if Dallas did win, then they were 2 points back. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a good question. As we'll see if we can find out an answer.
I'm sure check the standings right now, Dave.
Yeah, I'm checking as we speak. I'm trying to multitask.
Yeah, they're tied. Jets and Stars both have 26 points.
Yeah.
So the Winnipeg Jets are first in the Central.
Yeah, just like everybody predicted, by the end of November, past that Thanksgiving deadline. Although Rick Bowness was asked about it, he says he was asked about it following morning skate. He said doesn't give in to that. So Dallas lost 4. They were up 4-2 and lost 7-4. Wow, that's a heck of a game. Thank you, Matthew Thompson, for that update. That's the old Sports Center update from Matthew Thompson. But look, it's just it's a team that's feeling good, and you can see the vibe. They're vibing right now, and so they go into the second intermission. They're up 1-0 on the strength of that Nino Niederreiter goal. But again, I thought it was an exciting second period, even if there were no goals scored, because again, you get the blood rising, and it's interesting, similar to what we talked about on the last postgame show, with the fact that Tampa Bay and Winnipeg always seem to play tight games and exciting games. I thought the Panthers and Jets game was a tight game, and it was another exciting game, and maybe it's those first few years of the South Least division carrying over, but ultimately, again, it was an exciting 40 minutes. And even though it was a low scoring 1-0 game, there was still lots happening, lots of chances, lots of good saves at both ends. I mean, you got to give Sergei Bobrovsky credit on that Alex Iafallo stop.
Yep.
I mean, that was just a phenomenal stop by Bob. So there were a couple
on the nice pass from Connor. You're right. That was a really good save. I thought that was a for sure goal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm already like trying to, tweet it out from the IC account, Ezzy. There's no question about it. So
and
no,
Dave, we've got over 370 people watching right now.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for joining us. Smash that like button. What are you doing? Hit that like button.
That's a very good point.
Don't be scared.
This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's a little bit of a late starting Illegal Curve post-game. Actually, it started on time, and then we had a technical issue, but now we're rolling. We're like the Jets. We're in our 5-game win streak right now, Ezzy, you and I. No Mindell. So this is cruising.
Drew's at a concert tonight. He was telling me about it. It was a band that he saw at Folk Fest. I forget the name of the band.
Wait, that's why Drew's not doing the show?
A little bit of he's on the scene a little bit. He goes to a lot of concerts. He was at, 50 Cent and Busta Rhymes. Did he go to Wu-Tang too?
He may have
gone to Wu-Tang, which is crazy because, as you know, Dave, since high school, I've been into Wu-Tang. Drew couldn't even name 3 songs, but here we are, 41 and 42 years old, and Drew is a hipster now going to see 50 Cent and Wu-Tang. So,
well, there you go. Now now the folks in the chat know what was up with Mindell for his night. But Ezzy and I were locked in on this Jets game. We're watching it minute by minute to keep you guys in the loop. Well, you guys really are in the loop anyways. You don't really need us to be. We're superfluous, Ezzy. The chat is alive. And we love it. It's a Friday night.
John, Drew is a Swiftie, for the record.
But who isn't a Swiftie?
Exactly. I mean, Taylor Swift is phenomenal. I enjoy all of her work. She's great.
I'm not arguing.
If someone could lend me $1,400, I'll go see one of her concerts.
Yeah, you're gonna have to forgo your mortgage payments this month, Ezzy. But you can fly to Vancouver. She's passed over Winnipeg. I guess the thriving metropolis that is Winnipeg. She chose not to come see it.
I don't know if you've ever seen one of her concerts, Dave, but like, that's a funny comment from Frosty Winnipeg. But that's also a funny comment from David. Wu-Tang is for the Drews. For those who don't know, the saying goes, Wu-Tang is for the children. So that's a pretty funny one as well. But actually, Taylor Swift, Dave, when she's on stage during her concerts, she actually just has one of those like cash counting machines going. Like she has like 10 of those cash counting machines going.
Yeah.
Like just counting all that money.
She does bring a lot of money to the
just
economy.
As an aside, I thought it was really impressive that she remastered and re-recorded all of her albums so that she really truly owned it. She was in control as opposed to the record label. So I did think that was interesting, that Taylor Swift went to all of that trouble to remaster albums. But I think that's enough talk about Taylor Swift, Dave, and let's get into arguably the nicest goal of the year scored by a Winnipeg Jet.
Well, hold on, before you do that, the only thing I was going to say, if you're going to give her a shout out, you got to give her a shout out for first of all, boosting every economy she goes to, and then also supporting the truck drivers who drove all of her. I think she gave them each a bonus of like 100 or 200 grand for the tour. So pretty nice stuff from that. But let's get back to hockey because this is the Illegal Curve hockey show, not the Illegal Curve Taylor Swift show, unless Mindell is running it. We'll get back. Yeah, as Jeff is saying, this is not Swifty's lunch, Ezzy. It's the Illegal Curve post game show talking about the Jets and Panthers game. Appreciate so many of you guys joining us, and girls, I should say, guys and girls joining us here on this show.
It is a hockey show, Doug. We just have to, every once in a while we have to talk about Taylor Swift.
Doug has listened to us long enough to know that if there's not one sidetracking on one of our shows, then we're not doing it right. But don't worry, we will stick with hockey, but we like to get sidetracked every once in a while.
Get that Seagram's bumper ready, Dave, because I've got a little shot here of Fireball ready to go.
Okay, well, once we've hit that third period, as we're going to do.
There she is.
There she is. Hold on.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Like Nikolai Ehlers.
L'chaim, Dave. L'chaim.
There you go. Oh, he's nice. Put in a nice classy glass.
Ooh.
Nicely done.
Oh, that's delicious.
Well, as you deserve the reward of the good Seagram's Fireball, and from a courtesy of our friends, it's Fireball. Of course, enjoy that responsibly, Mr. Ginsburg. But the Jets go up 2-0 on just a phenomenal play the usage of Nikolai Ehlers' speed. Great.
They will
pass.
talk about this goal one day in history classes, Dave.
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, again, he goes inside, outside, turns the defenseman around, and goes up and over Bobrovsky and puts it in to the back of the net. That was at the 11:15 mark of the third period, and it was just a phenomenal effort by Nikolai Ehlers. I mean, that's what you need him to be doing, which is using his legs and his speed, and we've seen it more and more. And again, like, nobody's surprised by the fact that Nikolai Ehlers is now getting into that form as, oh, everybody wants to see a chug. There we go. So the fact of the matter is, everybody shouldn't be surprised, because he missed training camp, and you can malign training camp all you want, but if you don't get a chance to be participating in it, then October is essentially your training camp, and November is now Nikolai Ehlers looking like Nikolai Ehlers. And that line, that second line, whatever you want to call it, they're really finding each other. And again, it's going to be an interesting dilemma, and we'll get to that probably on tomorrow's show, as what the Jets are going to do with Gabe Vilardi and whether they'll return him or they'll wait one more day. But that's just such a phenomenal goal by Nikolai Ehlers to make it 2-0 for the Jets.
Yeah, and just before we get into that goal, because obviously we're going to spend some time here on this goal because we only have 3 goals to talk about. But this is obviously, I think a contender for goal of the year. I think you would agree, Dave, that the Mason Appleton goal scored earlier in the season, I forget who that was against, where Josh Morrissey had to pass Adam Lowry a stick from the bench.
Yeah,
I think that's in contention. I think for.
Now I don't have to feel bad, because I think we lost Ezzy. Boy, it's been quite a night on the Illegal Curve postgame show, folks. This is Ez frozen, or is it me frozen? Which one of us is frozen right now? I need the chat to give me the heads up, because right now it looks like Ezzy's frozen, but that could mean that I'm frozen and I'm just living in a parallel universe. Okay, good. Running man saying Ezzy's frozen. Boy, everyone, this has been quite the night, but this is what happens when you rely on the internet or you rely on technology. We didn't really necessarily have this problem back in the day, back in the 1290 days. Every once in a blue moon that would happen to us, but we appreciate you sticking with us while we, hey, Ezzy had to run solo for a bit. Now Dave M is running solo for a bit. Somehow Ezzy's back, but it's a new Ezra. But he's got the old Ezra. How many Ezras are in the chat? For the record, oh, damn it, you got rid of it.
How was that even possible?
I don't know.
What happened there?
That was amazing.
My internet browser, what happened? That was weird. My internet browser just completely shut down, and then I got like a virus protection notification.
Well, you were so what happened was, I was listening to you talk, and then your face appeared to be frozen, and I was about to message you in the chat saying, "Ez, your face is frozen, but I can still hear you perfectly." And then all of a sudden, you just went silent, and then I started explaining to the folks in the chat that we're having one hell of a night here.
Well, it's been that kind of night, so there's only really one thing to do: take another Seagram shot of the game.
That's what I like to see. There we go, finishes it off. But okay, well, let's get into it. I mean, look, that goal by Nikolai Ehlers, I agree with you. It is a goal of the year candidate. At least, we're approaching the quarter mark, so it's a little bit early to be saying it's going to be the goal of the year. But it's just a phenomenal effort by 27, and it was outlined by you in one of the comments that he fakes the shot, then goes around, and then puts it up and over Bobrovsky to make it 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this goal, is really all. It's all speed, but it's all stick handling to me, right? And yeah, it's an inside outside move. But I mean, just the speed of Nikolai Ehlers. And people are talking about, the defenseman was it Balinskis? Who's the defenseman? I believe 26, right? Was the defenseman. So he's obviously not a top defenseman for the Florida Panthers. Aaron Ekblad and Brandon Montour, the 2 best defensemen for the Panthers. But I don't know. I think Nikolai Ehlers, to me, knew that. And he probably knew that he probably couldn't do that around, an Aaron Ekblad or a Brandon Montour. But just incredible that Nikolai Ehlers can do that at top speed, right? And that's what stood out to me. Like, Nick Ehlers has done some pretty special stuff, but the fact that he accelerated at that level and then just put that inside-outside move, backhand to forehand, and just a beautiful shot. Like, everything about that was just a great individual effort by Nick Ehlers. And I agree with you, Dave. Like, the start was slow, But he's definitely picked it up. That line, Ehlers, Perfetti, Nemesnikov have been incredible. But yeah, I think regardless of who that defenseman was, you still have to give. He's still an NHL defenseman, Balinskis. I don't know a lot about him.
Right.
I believe this is his rookie year or his second year. He hasn't been in the league a lot. But yeah, just an amazing individual effort. And to do that at top speed and then finish it off with a beautiful shot on Sergei Bobrovsky, who played very well tonight.
Yeah.
So that has to be, for me, if it's not the goal of the year so far for the Jets, it's right up there with the Mason Appleton goal.
Yeah, no, I that's a good point, Ezzy. And again, that's what you want to see if you're, folks were worried about Nikolai Ehlers, right? And now you're seeing him heat up and you're seeing that line continue to add production. And that to me is the most important thing. Like, everybody gets excited when you see the Scheifele, Iafallo, Connor line put up, 11 points in the game. Each guy gets 3-4 points, whatever it is. But the more important thing I would think that anybody would tell you is that you want to have depth. And so from a Jets perspective, looking at this team, getting the scoring from the third line, getting the scoring from the first line, and getting the scoring from the second line. And again, you're not getting any scoring really from the fourth line, but they're still having a lot of success. They're doing what they need to do, which is, carrying the puck into the offensive zone, weighing the other team's, defenseman down, cycling the puck and just trying to control whatever time they have on the ice, and keep it in the other end of the ice, from their end. But again, like I said, if you can have three lines churning and scoring, like the Jets seem to be doing right now, it's going to produce. And right now, like we said, 5 wins in a row, 11-2-2, only 2 losses in all of November. They'll try and keep that going when they play the Nashville Predators on Sunday. And, as I'm not going to ask you to break down the final goal, of course, because we don't generally break down empty net goals.
Well, it's funny. We were joking. Nito Niederreiter should have had an empty net goal, but he missed it somehow.
Well,
yeah, look, Adam Lowry, continues to be hot. The third line remains hot. And I agree with what you're saying, Dave. Like, we've talked about it quite a bit on the Saturday show. Like, the Jets forward depth is probably the best it's been since that 2017-18 season.
Yeah.
But also you throw in now Connor Hellebuck. You notice that he's right up there now in terms of goal save above expected with Thatcher Demko and Jeremy Swayman and other goaltenders, right? And, everyone is freaking out after 5 or 6 games. But if anybody knows anything about Connor Hellebuck, it's that he's harder on himself than anybody. And if he has 1 bad start or 2 bad starts, usually that's followed by 3, 4, 5 really good starts, excellent starts, right? So, yeah, right now, Dallas right now, I think I would say is a little bit better than the Jets. I think Vegas, is the top team in the West, not just in the standings right now, but I still think that they're the team to beat in the West. But I think you could safely say the Jets are the 3rd best team in the West, right? And Colorado's in that conversation. Sure, throw in Vancouver as well. You can't discredit what they've done. But going into this is not an easy road trip, right, Dave?
No.
Like Florida, Tampa Bay, Nashville. I don't know if anybody saw Nashville won 7-2 today over St. Louis, right? So obviously, I don't think anybody thinks Nashville is a Stanley.
The Ryan O'Reilly return game, Ezzy.
Right. So that's not going to be an easy game, and we'll break that down on tomorrow's show. But Jets fans, you got to enjoy this right now. And I think based on the 330 plus people watching right now, I think everybody's enjoying this Jets winning streak.
By the way, did we have more people on the show when we weren't actually on the show than we do now? Is that possible? I do like this comment by Jeff, right? The one we just had up there, Ezzy, because it's interesting, right? This is the longest we've seen these lines somewhat stick together. Gabe Vilardi's will, if he doesn't play, I think he's missed 16 games now. So that was his 16th game missed. And it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Rasmus Kupari comes out as well, and so you've got Gustafsson and Axel Jonsson-Fjällby.
Yeah, it'll be AJF, Dave. I don't see Gustafsson coming to the lineup. That's my opinion.
Oh,
so
I see what you're saying.
I think Axel Jonsson-Fjällby becomes the 13th forward once Gabe Vilardi comes back. Yeah, and obviously Kupari is going to be out for another 5 to 6 weeks here, right? So, and that's obviously you don't ever want a player to be injured.
Right.
But David Gustafsson's playing well. Like, he's not, scoring every single night. Right. He had a scoring chance tonight. Him and Morgan Barron combined to have a decent scoring chance.
Yep.
And they've just played well, right? Getting kind of around that 7 to 10 minutes, closer to 10 minutes.
Yeah. So it was sub 10 though, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean that's what you expect in a closer game. I mean, if the Jets are up, 3 or 4 goals, then the fourth line might get into that kind of 12 to 14 minute range. But that's what you want out of a fourth line. You want a solid 7 to 10 minutes. And obviously David Gustafsson and Axel Jonsson-Fjällby can kill penalties. But what I would say about Gabe Vilardi is, whether he comes back on Sunday versus Nashville or Tuesday at home against Dallas, does it even really matter where he goes with the way the Jets are playing? Like, it's not like, Gabe Vilardi, if he ends up playing on the second line, with Cole Perfetti and Nick Ehlers, it's not like, that's a line that you now have to worry about.
Right.
Whether he's on the first line or the second line, he's going to continue to play well, or I should say he's going to resume. And obviously, you're expecting him to start a little bit slower. I mean, if he doesn't, get a goal every single game in his first 3 or 4 games back, nobody's going to be complaining. But that's what I would say right now. I think that's a good problem to have when you have 4 good lines going. I personally, Dave, I told you I like Vilardi up with Scheifele and Connor, but Iafallo is playing really good there. So I think probably what makes the most sense is, you put him on that second line and you move Perfetti back to the middle. Vilardi plays on the right. Ehlers plays on the left. Nemesnikov gets bumped down to the fourth line. And then you arguably have the best fourth line in hockey with Morgan Barron, David Gustafsson, and Vlad Nemesnikov.
Well, and again, it's that idea of, do you want to do as, a few changes as possible, right? Because if you move Iafallo, put Vilardi back where Iafallo was, then you move Iafallo down, you move Nemesnikov, you could basically change every line with the exception of the third line. So, that'll be the question for the Jets coaching staff, Rick Bowness and his crew. So we'll see what they choose to do. And look, we'll
Sparky
just end off.
Obviously wasn't that impressed by that Ehlers goal. He thinks the Jets should trade him.
I think
obviously Sparky's joking.
I think Sparky's being a contrarian. The only thing you folks, if you want to be contrarians, is 2 things. Number 1, smash that like button while you're listening to this being the Illegal Curve post-game show. I'm your host, Dave Manouk. He's my main man, Ezra Ginsburg. And please make sure you're subscribed. Now, most of you are, which is always a good thing, but if you can, make sure you're subscribed. Oh, also, I'll add a third thing, Ezzy. Make sure you add a comment. So just quickly to finish off, Jets have a chance. You touched on it. Nino Niederreiter could have put it into the empty net, doesn't. And then they pull the goalie with 5 minutes to go. Bold play by Paul Maurice, down 2 goals. And of course, then Vlad Nemesnikov gets that, probably your second least favorite penalty. Your delay of game is probably your least favorite penalty. Face-off violations, Ezzy. I don't know why, but I feel like that would be your second least favorite penalty. So Vlad Nemesnikov gets hit with the face-off violation. So the Panthers have a chance, 6-on-4, but Captain Adam Lowry, after going 9 games without a goal, he's got goals in back-to-back. He puts the dagger into the Panthers, 3-0, and the Jets are going streaking 5 straight games with a win for the Winnipeg Jets. So things are good in Jets land. Thanks, Perry. It is my show. I appreciate that. Perry, the winner of the Tough Duck Toque. Who will be the winner of the next Tough Duck Toque, Ezzy? That's a good question.
I've got one queued up. There have been some great comments tonight, but I think I have my winner.
Dylan's saying, what time is the Saturday show? The same Saturday show is the same time it's always been, Dylan. 9:00 sharp. Well, we say sharp, but it's usually 9:01 because Ezzy and I are usually
9:00 Central.
Yes, 9:00 CST. But
I'm not sure if Dylan is in Manitoba or the Central Time Zone, but it is 9:00 Central. And as Dave mentioned, it's been 9:00 Central for what, 13 years now?
The only time we ever didn't do a show at 9:00 back in the day, back in the TSN days, was that if the Jets were playing, and I remember in particular, they were playing in Philadelphia at noon, and we had to do a show at like 6 in the morning because our old show, as on TSN 1290, was a 3-hour show. So we used to have to go on because we'd go on before Hustler and Lawless, and we'd be on before the pregame show, I guess. But like, it was crazy. We'd be doing we'd be on at like 6 to 9. And then I remember that's when I put my foot down. I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing a 6. As he picked me up at like 5:30 in the morning. So I was like, no more of those types of shows. And then we killed it down.
Some nice breaking news from Bailey, by the way. Schmidt and Hellebuck get the jackets tonight.
There we go.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Dave and I were talking about that, watching the game here in the third period.
Yeah.
We already talked about how good of a pair, Schmidt and Sandberg have been lately, that third pair. But good on Nate Schmidt, right? Like, he was a healthy scratch earlier this season. We talked about Brendan Dillon was a game time decision tonight. He obviously did play. So I guess Logan Stanley probably would have gone in if
Yeah,
Dylan wasn't
took,
ready to go.
Yeah, he took Logan Stanley skated in his place this morning at morning skate, as per our friend Ken Weeb of the Winnipeg Free Press. So that still sounds weird to say. Okay, well let's head to commercial break. Let's pay some bills, and then once we come back from commercial break, we will anoint a Tough Duck winner. We'll maybe set up tomorrow's show. As in, can't go too late. I know folks want us to go long, but you'll have to get it all out in Kenny and Rennie because we got another show coming up in less than 12 hours. So let's hear from our sponsors right now.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal. Starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Boston Pizza harnessed Fanalytics to test if the game is better at home or at Boston Pizza. The results are irrefutable. Catch the game at Boston Pizza, powered by Fanalytics.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the illegal curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com.
Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. We've got audio, we've got video. Things are running smoothly, thankfully. I am your host, temporary host, Dave Manouk. He is Ezra Ginsburg. I saw that comment by Larry. Larry went to an Olive Garden for the folks who are listening to the podcast. Haven't been to an Olive Garden in a while. We actually ordered it. I remember the office ordered it for lunch, which was fantastic. But, Olive Garden, little soup, salad, breadsticks.
Larry's pushing hard here for the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Usually we keep it to hockey, but that's a pretty good Olive Garden review here, Dave.
That is a good one. But unfortunately, I don't think that's the one you picked. So we're gonna hide Larry's comment, even though I enjoyed Larry's comment, and we are gonna ask Ezra are you ready with the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment? And if you give me the thumbs up, then I'm gonna well, as long as you get rid of all those comments, as this is the problem when you give Ginsburg access to that.
Well, hey, we got a good Olive Garden thread going. They're not a sponsor of the show. Maybe they will be one day.
But we'll take a look. Okay, well, let's go to our friends at Tough Duck for the hardest hitting comment of the game.
The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Okay, here we go. Lots of good comments tonight. We appreciate everybody joining us, but we're going to go with IC post-game show regular, and we're going to give it to Dark Moon. I like this comment. Got it up there. The chemistry of this team is showing, and they were playing remarkably good offensively and good defensively. Not to forget about Hellebuck and Brossoit. Amazing. Keep up the win streak. I mean, really, like, Dark Moon, I think, nailed it there. I mean, all four lines are rolling. The D pairs look right, as Paul Maurice always used to say, right? We talked about it, like Nate Schmidt earlier in the season struggling a little bit, but now Sandberg and Schmidt have formed that nice Minnesota pair there. And then obviously, the top two D pairs are set in stone with Morrissey, DeMello, and then Dylan and Pionk. But, the Gabe Vilardi kind of conundrum, as we were kind of joking last weekend, to me isn't really a conundrum anymore. With the Jets having won 5 in a row and 11-2-2 in their last 15. I mean, I think regardless if you put Vilardi on the wing on the first line, on the wing or on the second line, up the middle on the second line, I think what probably makes more sense, is if you put Perfetti between Vilardi and Ehlers on that second line, and then that bumps Nemesnikov. We have a good debate going in the chat. Some people think Iafallo has earned the right to stay on the first line. Other people think Vilardi should go back on the right wing of that first line, and then Iafallo gets bumped down potentially to the fourth line, I guess. I mean, I guess you could easily put, Iafallo with Ehlers and Perfetti. It's kind of hard. It's now I think about it, it's probably not the easiest decision for Rick Bowness or Scott O'Neill, but regardless, Dark Moon, send me an email, ezra@illegalcurve.com, or slide into my DMs on X/Twitter, ICSEG. Send me your mailing address, and we'll hook you up, just like Perry William Cousin, who we're going to send a toque out to him in the great province of Alberta. And Jordan Hare, we are going to send that toque. Tough Duck is going to send that toque to his dad, because his dad is in Ontario, because Jordan, of course, is in the beautiful country of Australia. So that's a little bit more expensive when it comes to shipping, but Jordan will eventually get that toque. So Dark Moon, congratulations. You are tonight's Tough Duck hardest hitting comment winner.
Well, congrats. And thank you to everybody who participates in the contest, supplying great comments throughout the course of this broadcast and each and every broadcast when we go live.
Dark Moon's still watching.
Well, we should hope so. Hopefully everybody, Jordan Hare.
It was a full moon tonight. I don't know how many people noticed that, but it was a full moon.
I have cousins actually in Perth, Australia. I
have cousins at Perth Dry Cleaners.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I have not close cousins. I believe the mom was a Manuke, so they're out in Perth, nice. Western Australia.
So Manuke dynasty is all across the world.
Maybe Jordan is a relative of mine in some capacity. Who knows? All right. Well, it's been a lot of fun. Been a good show so far. We've gotten through it. We've had no more
had those technical difficulties. I don't know what it is. One of these days, we'll figure everything out, but. I don't know. My computer has been an issue. I have the new computer now, but we've got these fancy Shure microphones, and we fought through it, Dave. The rest of the show's been fine. It was that first 5 or 6 minutes where we were just kind of finding our legs.
We absolutely did, and as I'd be remiss if I didn't do this.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Manuke Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
It's really just a fake out, because the Moose were. It's
a great comment from Jeff, by the way.
That is a great comment. I see technical difficulties greater than or less than Arlington Bridge has.
I would say equal.
No, it's greater than or less than. But remember, it's always the alligator eating.
No, I know that was greater than. I thought you were asking me if I thought that was right. If it was greater than.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes, that is greater than. Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if you.
The Arlington Bridge, as you know, Dave, though, has been a little shaky for over a decade now. We're talking about probably 20 years that Arlington Bridge has been shaky. Oh. So I'm not sure that spackle and mortar is going to take care of that. I think that's going to be. Well, maybe
it sounds like it's going to be a bomb that's going to be taking care of it, because they're demolishing it.
I think that's a demolition job at this point.
Well, it's unfortunate. Like I said, it's the best route from Garden City to the downtown. So it's unfortunate for those of us who use it quite frequently, as I did. Perfectly timed lights. It was great from Inkster all the way to the bridge. it was smooth sailing. And then there weren't a lot of lights between like Logan and Portage. So it's just it's the death knell of a great route. It's unfortunate, much like the Moose play tonight. So I'm going to quickly zip through this one because Moose didn't do much of anything other than give up a goal on the first shot of the game. Where have you heard that before? Quite frequent this season. And in Grand Rapids, Ezzy, it was the teddy bear toss. And unlike the Moose, who in the teddy bear toss, they do it in the first intermission, Grand Rapids, who I think has the biggest one in the AHL, I think they end up giving like 10,000 toys away, but they do it at the first goal. So as soon as they scored, the toys come raining down on the ice. And if you didn't see it, I clipped it. It's on IC Dave. So check that out. But the Moose basically got pumped. They lost 5-0. Their PK last year, which was in the last couple of years, has been a top PK in the AHL. They're down to 27th, and they gave up 2 goals on the power play. End up losing. They were down 5-0. End up losing 5-1. Jeff Malott broke the shutout of Michael Hutchinson, former Jets Moose goalie. So Michael Hutchinson,
the right catching Michael Hutchinson.
Correct. So Michael Hutchinson, he gets the shutout bid broken with 9 seconds to go. Jeff Malott with a shorthanded goal for the Moose. They'll end their road trip. They went 2-3 on the road trip. Nikita Chibrikov, who had 5 goals in 4 games, his streak is done, and the Moose are going to try and go even it up in the rematch on Sunday. So the Moose are middling right now. The goaltending not great. Of course, Thomas Milic is down with Norfolk. He picked up his second career shutout, but that's the Moose Minute. So not a lot to talk about, but we will get into that as when they play again. So we'll have to wait till the next one.
And I agree with what Phil has said. Like Jansen Harkins, they lose him to waivers earlier in the season, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got Axel Jonsson-Fjällby and Dominic Toninato up with the Jets right now.
Yeah.
Right. So that's 2 of their best veteran players. And Jonsson-Fjällby, he's 26, but he's a veteran player.
Yeah.
And Toninato, obviously. Jimmy Olney, that injury's hurt. You talked about Declan Chisholm played tonight. So that's the thing, right? Like the AHL, of course, is a developmental league, as you know, Dave.
Yep.
But I mean, the Moose, they're a little bit shorthanded right now, right? And yeah, guys like Nikita Chibrikov and Brad Lambert, they're putting the puck in the net. Their offensive numbers are good.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're facing some veteran teams like Grand Rapids and the Toronto Marlies, I believe they're still more of veteran teams, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know their rosters inside and out. So I think the Moose will be fine. They're just going through a bit of a rough patch right now.
Well, the Moose will be back after they finish out this road trip. They'll be back home, and guess what? We'll have lots of tickets to give away, but that's a story for another show, Ezra. This show is going to come to an end. We are going to we're going to stick a fork in this one because, again, as I said, we'll be back at it in, 11 hours? And Dave, I've still got to do a game recap, still got to do the morning papers. So with no further ado, because my boy Frosty Winnipeg put it up on the chat, we want to thank our sponsors, because without them and without you, we would not have a show. Well, we would, but there would be nobody watching and nobody supporting. Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental, Farmery, the home of the Illegal Curve beer. Hopefully we'll be doing a Saturday show at Farmery's retail location at 2 Donald Street sooner rather than later. Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza. Remember, December 7th, Dark Moon was asking about having a beer with the IC guys.
Jets Avalanche, 8:00 p.m., Thursday, December 7th. Be there.
At Boston Pizza on Taylor. IC will be up on the marquee. So come join Ezzy, Drew, and I on December 7th, 8:00, as Ezzy just said.
Pizza, get those cactus cut chips, and sit down, have a beer, and watch the game.
There you go. Seagram's, Rollies Transfer, and the Rink Guys. Although, actually, Frosty, not the Rink Guys. So, Frosty's got to fix it. I told Frosty if he puts one up that's not there anymore, Frosty's always got to check the YouTube link to make sure what is and what isn't.
The Rink Guys were just a short-term sponsor for a month, but that's okay. We won't hold that against Frosty. We're very thankful for the Rink Guys for their support.
Yeah.
And even though they're only a short-term sponsor, not sponsoring anymore, we recommend that you contact the Rink Guys. Go to therinkguys.com because they're still installing outdoor rinks. Obviously, this milder weather, not a lot of snow, has actually been beneficial for them. So still check out the Rink Guys for sure.
Okay, well, that is a heck of a good show. The Jets are on, of course, a heck of a good run, Ezra. 5 wins in a row, 11-2-2. Oh, look at that. Frosty's already amended it and fixed it as. But 11-2-2 for the Jets right now. They are in first, tied for first, but in first right now on NHL.com in the standings. So there's a lot of joy in Joyland. We want to thank you for spending your Friday night with us. We're looking forward to already spending our Saturday morning with us here on what will be the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. I am Dave Minuk. He is Ezra Ginsburg. We will be back with you. Enjoy the rest of your night. Smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribing. Drop a comment on this channel or on the podcast. I appreciate it. You know, it's all about the algorithm. Anyways, have a great night. We will talk to you very soon. In fact, we'll see you very soon on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. This has been the Illegal Curve postgame show.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.